Hi there, Leanne from the Vermilion and District Chamber of Commerce. This candidate interview is with Lonnie Wolgien. He is the incumbent candidate for County of Vermilion River, Division 4. Just a reminder to everybody that all of the candidates are being asked the same questions in the same order without prior knowledge of the questions, and all of the questions have been submitted by members of the public. And also just one final reminder to get out and vote on October 18th. So Lonnie, I'll just kind of throw it over to you and you can kind of give us an idea of who you are and why you decided to seek re-election for Division 4.
Okay, where do I start? Let's go back to when I was in high school. I finished my high school in Lloydminster. From there, I worked in the oil field for approximately 10 years, and then I decided to go into agriculture. And that is where myself and my wife moved to Vermilion and been there for, I think it was 7 years. And then I transferred out 2 different points throughout Alberta, and then transferred back to Vermilion to finish my career off. So I spent basically, since I've been back for a little over 25 years in the Vermilion area, and in particular in the county of Vermilion River. So with that, we'll leave it at that.
Okay, perfect. So what would you say is your biggest accomplishment in the past 4 years of being a counselor?
From the perspective of the gravel, we have, and I say we, I meaning myself and all the council, I'm not the only one to take credit for it, but our gravel program, we've got serious or really good improvements on the gravel quality. Also, we have had administration to qualify or get us 10-year supply, so that we know we're sitting in a good position when it comes to gravel. Another one would be rehabilitation of the roads. As transport trucks get bigger and bigger, our roads were originally never built for Super Bs and that kind of traffic, and even the oil field traffic. So we're having issues, and we'll continue to have issues with that. In that same process, we put together, and again, this is not only myself, but as council as a whole, we put a 5-year plan together to recondition or to salvage our paved roads or oiled roads. And another one that we've been working on is transparency, the transparency between the residents and also council.
Okay, excellent. Being that expenses and the cost of living have increased, how would you propose to lower taxes, or at the very least hold them the same over the next few years?
That is going to be very, very difficult. A lot of people don't realize, but we've had a lot of downloading from the provincial and federal governments. And the one that really sticks out for myself is the cost increase of the Rcmp. Trying to remember exact year, but by 2024, I believe we will be paying $750,000 towards the Rcmp program. And we've been asking for, some kind of explanation why we would get hit with that kind of a dollar value. And yet there's no promises or no commitments to enlarge the police force in Vermilion, Kitscoty, Lloydminster in our county. So downloading has been a real problem. And also there's been an issue with the Alberta government pulling back on their monies that they've been putting forward to the counties or the municipalities as a whole. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I honestly do not see taxes going down. Hold them. I think there's going to be points of time where we will be able to hold them, but we got to figure out something when it comes to services, whether we cut them a little bit or change the services around, because that's where a lot of the costs come in. So we need to get people in and out of town and being able to move around the county. And it's pretty tough to go with a zero number.
ICF, Intercollaboration Framework, has been a huge issue for the past few years. One of the issues was with the town of Vermilion regarding the fire agreement. How will you help to foster cooperation during future negotiations?
That one is always a difficult one because it involves finances. It's no different than having a conversation with my wife. And when it comes to the costs of fire services, recreation, all those items, they're very difficult to deal with. And what we need to do is continue the talks. It took us a long time to do in particular, the ICF for the town of Vermilion. Their asks were fairly high, and we couldn't justify it financially without having large tax increases, that kind of thing. But we did also with ICF. We did an ICF with Kitscotty. We did one with Marwayne, and we also did one with Paradise Valley. And those were fairly successful, fairly quickly. And again, it involves money, so it's always a difficult discussion.
So you touched on this a little bit, but what is your opinion of the roads in the county, in particular with the gravel and grading?
Well, for a starter, we have, 5,200 kilometers of gravel roads. With that, county is currently servicing it with 16 graders. And I feel they're doing a fairly good job. It's not perfect, nothing ever is, but last year we allowed the Public Works Department to spend an extra $1 million on gravel, and we're seeing the results of it now. One issue that we have run into this year, because it was so dry and we put lots of gravel on, now we're dealing with washboard. We went from muddy roads to washboard roads, and I think where the benefit will show up if it rains in December, January, we'll have some gravel to work back on that ice. Our oiled roads, with the 5-year plan that we've put into place, those oiled roads will be saved, the ones that can be saved. And they're currently working on it. I'm fortunate, I had 2 in my division that were done here in the last 2 years, but we're doing it throughout the county. It's not just here. So the other one is dust control. It works very well. It's a lot cost effective than paving in front of yards, that kind of thing, and intersections. So overall, I think the roads are in pretty good shape. They're never perfect. And as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to truck traffic, oil field traffic, and these trucks are getting bigger and heavier, and our roads were originally built, possibly in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. They were never built to handle that kind of weights and speed.
What do you think of the current annexation talks throughout the county? Could the county possibly develop those areas and diversify the land for their own benefit instead?
Yes, we can develop them. We have been developing them on several scenarios around Lloydminster in particular. Of course, with the annexation deal there with them, they want to expand also, and they need that revenue as well as we do. But there's all kinds of opportunities. We've been looking into it and trying to diversify our entities to create some tax incentive or tax income from that type of thing. So we've got an opportunity there, and we have been working at it. It hasn't paid any dividends to this point in time to any extent. One that has been successful is the G3 elevator just outside of Vermilion. So if we could have a whole bunch of those, we would be in great shape.
What do you think the #1 issue is in your division that needs to be addressed?
Never changes. It's always roads. They continuously, every year with the weather, it changes, the road conditions change, and there becomes problems. And that's where it's an ongoing issue, and it's never going to go away. But our responsibility, I feel, as a councillor or county, is we have to be able to get people to and from their residence, whether they're going into other communities or into the hospital, for recreation or schools, whatever it might be. We need to have the best that we can supply at a reasonable cost.
If you received a $1 million grant, no strings attached, to use for the county, how would you use it and why?
Well, I'm going to go back to roads again. It's roads and rural crime are the two big issues that we have at this point in time. Vermilion isn't as badly affected. It is affected. I'm not going to deny that, but it's not as badly affected as the north part of our county. And so that $1 million to me would be well spent on both of those items.
And the final question is, what's the one thing that you hope to accomplish by becoming councillor once again?
Number one, I think, would be economic development. We need to, as I mentioned earlier, we need to get the economic development on those lands that we can to create extra revenue for the county itself. And it would share the tax load with the residents. And where I'm coming from with that is in the last 4 to 5 years, what I've seen is a $7 million drop in revenues from the oil field because of the downturn. So we have to, and we are working on trying to increase those numbers so that we don't have to deal with it on a residential or a farm basis.
So that's the end of our prepared questions. If there's anything that you'd like to say in closing, now would be a good time for that.
Okay. Well, the key one here, I think, I'd like to share, and again, I'm just reiterating what I said earlier, is that, you know, we've had a $7 million loss in income in the oil industry. Hopefully that starts to turn around and things pick up again, and then because that tax base has been shared with our residents over the last probably 20-25 years. The other one is the 5-year plan for the paving program. I really would like to see that come back through again, follow it through to the end. It's like I say, it's in year 2 of 5, and it'd be nice to be able to be here to see it finalized. And then the other one that's really important to us is natural gas. We are a rarity when it comes to counties to have your own gas co-op. And with that, everything in this environment we live in today is greener. I don't know how you'd say it, greener economics or whatever. But the big thing there is that we have an opportunity as a county to go out, and we've started it on our own. We've switched all our natural gas department's trucks to natural gas, which is quite a bit cheaper to run. We started on our public works stuff, and we're going to be looking at our larger trucks, graders, that type of thing to run on natural gas. It's a cleaner fuel. It's way more cost effective than gas or diesel. So those are some of the things I'd love to see us expand on. And it's an opportunity to generate extra income. And we have seen that already with our facility. We put in a natural gas filling station at Kitskotty, and we presently have our trucks using it. We have some company trucks using it now. And so we're starting to see some profits from it, which is what we were looking for. So long-term, I'd like to see that developed a lot further.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for your time today, Lonnie.
Okay, thanks, Leanne, and just appreciate the opportunity. And I'd like to also say thanks to the council, if I could, because all those decisions on what has happened is not solely mine, it's council as a whole.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.